time to light the match for the burning truth with Casey Hendrickson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to The Burning Truth. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Don't forget, you can watch the live stream on Rumble, rumble.com/Casey the host. Hit subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. Would really appreciate that. It's been a couple of weeks because I've been out of the country, but joining us on the line right now is Congressman Jim Banks. Congressman, how are you this afternoon?
Hey, I'm good, Casey. Good to be with you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I thought this was pretty interesting, actually. Indiana seems to be moving in the direction of just kind of saying, hey, Communist China, like, you got to get out. And I feel like they were kind of pulled, not the state, but I feel like the current administration was kind of pulled kicking and screaming down this path. I think there were some people who were running for the gubernatorial race who did not win, who probably wanted to continue investing with China. I know how you stand on it. I know how I stand on it. But, you know, when the Indiana Deferred Compensation Committee eliminated public retirement assets from 2 outside investment funds because they're divesting from Chinese entities, I had a little smile and a little clap. How about you?
Yeah, same here. And you got to give credit to Elise Nishala, our new state comptroller.
Yeah.
It was her leadership here that made that happen, along with Daniel Elliott, our state auditor, as well. Those two have been really fighting this cause. Keep in mind that there are a lot of people in Indiana who think that we shouldn't elect these positions. The comptroller, the treasurer, Daniel Elliott is the treasurer, not the auditor. There are people in Indiana who want to allow the governor to appoint those positions. Thank God they're elected, because they're acting independently of the governor and making this happen. So the legislature has been fighting this fight, but I give a lot of credit to those 2 statewide elected officials for, at the end of the day, state retirees shouldn't be forced to invest their retirement funds with our biggest enemy, the Chinese Communist Party, or invest in funds that promote the Green New Deal and the radical left causes, and that's the move that's happening at the State House because of Nishala and Daniel Elliott.
Yeah, what a change in just, less than 8 years, honestly. We went from a state that was basically entangled with the Chinese Communist Party, massive investment from Chinese Communist Party affiliated firms being promoted by the state of Indiana and government officials. And then, you get a couple of fighters in there in the right positions, as you pointed out, elected positions, who said enough is enough. The assembly does the right thing, and eventually you kind of force everybody to go along with it. Next thing you know, Indiana is really moving away from the Chinese Communist Party, and the fact that they can't own property in the state now, huge win, if you ask me. But now you have this. I mean, just a dramatic turnaround, relatively short period of time. So it shows you what real leadership is, ladies and gentlemen. And
yeah, I don't want to ding on just the current governor. The last 3 governors have done trade missions to China and have been entangled in these sister city, sister state programs, and they go to China and they think they can lure them to invest in Indiana and make a big jobs announcement splash. But Casey, there are always strings attached. And those strings attached are not in the best interest of Indiana or the United States of America. Those strings are always attached for China's benefit. So it's time to cut the cord, and we got some state legislators who are fighting to get China out of Indiana, and it's good to see some statewide elected officials pick up the cause too.
Absolutely, kind of just in line with China. I know that I was just in Europe, and we did Scotland, England, Wales, and Paris, France. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, Congressman, one of the big failures of Trump's previous administration, and one of the things that people like me are desperately looking for him in his next administration, should he be able to overcome the obstacles and get back into the White House here, is we have got to fix social media and censorship in this country. It is imperative, because we are going down the exact same path that they have in Europe. And I know that there will be some people out there who go, oh, we have the First Amendment. But that doesn't apply when we're talking about private companies. And the government has already carved out this exception for them. They've been censoring people for a very long time. I know that I've been censored at least very, very actively since 2016. It probably went back before then. But, Congressman, I wanted to share with you something that happened when we were in the United Kingdom. Some people came up to me in our tour group, and they said, have you checked Facebook today? Now, I'm banned on Facebook, so I couldn't, but they started pulling up their Facebook feeds, Congressman. All of their political posts were grayed out automatically. The post title was gray, the graphic was gray, the URL to the story was gray. All of it was gray. Posts about their family, their personal life were just fine. Only political posts were actually grayed out. And I'm assuming this is all done with an algorithm and that it was all automatic. But it was something that for us as Americans in Europe, we're like, okay, this is where they're trying to go at this point. And I really would love to get a sense from you, what is happening on the House side now and what can we expect in the Senate when you get to the Senate to fix this problem?
Yeah, the short answer, unfortunately, is not enough has happened in the House. Jim Jordan is chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and we haven't seen anything that cracks down on big tech companies come out of that committee in a while. And I don't have a good answer for why, except for you get a 2-seat Republican majority, and you have too many Republicans that are on the take getting campaign contributions from some of the big tech companies. So we have to get Donald Trump back in the White House. He knows more than he did the full 4 years that he was in the White House, how much is at stake, how much is at risk of our First Amendment rights with these big tech companies. No, I've always said that no big corporation like these big tech companies should have more power than the people that you elect to represent you in the government. And that's what you have with Google and Facebook and many of these other big tech companies. So we got to do something about it. I know it's something that my friend J.D. Vance is going to be a great vice president, something that he's deeply focused on. So he'll be a great advisor to President Trump on how to tackle those issues. But you're right, we can't go down the path of Europe and other countries. Unfortunately, we're headed down that path. I mean, I'm an elected congressman, and I've been censored by Facebook. If I should be able to say anything in the public square online that I can go to the floor of the House of Representatives and say, but I've been prevented from doing that by Facebook on a number of occasions. So we can't let them continue to get away with it. We got to do something about it, but it's going to take President Trump back in the White House to make that happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm in agreement too. Obviously, I think that every American citizen deserves the right to be able to say what they want to say, but at the very least, I don't even understand why Democrats aren't even pushing this, especially with Elon taking over X. But it seems to me that if you're a politician running in a campaign or you're an elected official or a government official, at the very least, it should be illegal to censor anything that you say, even if we're talking about just limiting its distribution to the audience, because those are the things that people desperately need to hear. I know that we've had emergency alerts and things like that nobody was able to see because I was being censored by Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, and we're just trying to find kids who are missing, for crying out loud, and they won't show those posts to anybody. So we knew that it was happening. Obviously, we've talked about it quite a bit, Congressman. I know that you and I have talked about it previously, but I had never actually seen it in action before, where it was just automatically graying out any political posts. It was just absolutely insane that they have the software to do that stuff. And if they have the opportunity here, they'll do that. And I firmly believe that they will do that.
We don't want that to happen in the United States of America, and I think most Americans get that. But that's what's at stake in this next election.
Yeah. Just real quick? I know that you're short on time here, but your take on I guess we can call it a debate. It really wasn't. I feel like it was largely a waste of time and clearly 3-on-1. But I still think that Trump held his own. I don't think that he lost. I don't think that he won anything. I don't think Kamala won anything. I don't think that any undecided voters were swayed. But what do you think?
You have a whistleblower at ABC coming out right now saying that the questions were given to Kamala beforehand, that she was warned that Trump was going to be fact-checked. It wasn't a fair debate, but Donald Trump is used to that. And the poll numbers are showing that he gained more from the debate than what she did. So I think that makes Donald Trump the winner of the debate. I'm focused on November 5th, and Donald Trump has the momentum, the Donald Trump was never leading in the national polling in 2016 or 2020, and today he's leading in the national polling. He's leading in the key battleground states, and we got to close the deal, seal the deal on November 5th, and get Donald Trump back in the White House. Our kids are counting on it.
Trump announced today that there won't be another debate with Kamala Harris. Do you agree with that decision?
That's up to him. I mean, I thought he did great in the debate. He shines in the debates, and but these moderators are never going to give it doesn't matter what network, the moderators are never going to give Donald Trump a fair opportunity to debate his opponent. And he knows that, the country knows that, and I'll defer to him on whether or not he wants to put himself in that situation again before the election.
Yeah, I said it yesterday, and I've said it before, and I don't know, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but I think it's time that the Republican Party strongly consider not doing any cable or network news debates and force the Democrats to go to neutral third parties that might not have a dog in the fight. And I don't know if anybody's going to be willing to do that or not, but it's worth a try if you ask me. So
yeah, I'm finding that in my own race. I mean, show me a truly unbiased moderator, and I'm happy to debate my opponents. But it's hard to find that with the mainstream media.
Well, I know that I'm not necessarily unbiased, but I can be honest. So if you want one, you give me a call. I'll be the moderator.
You got it. It's a deal.
I appreciate it. Congressman, thank you so much. And again, you're running for Senate. If you want to give out your Senate campaign website so people can learn more about what you're standing for and how to help you out.
We got just a little bit more than 7 weeks to go. Go to banksforsenate.com. Get involved today. We need all the help we can get.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Congressman Jim Banks, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we got more coming up. You're tuned in to The Burning Truth. Yeah, some people on the live stream were talking about a proposal. I guess they heard it on Clay Travis, Buck and Clay. Good guys, by the way. Good show. And, I guess Clay Travis was like, hey, you have one Republican of the Republicans choosing as a moderator. You have one Democrat of the Democrat candidates choosing as the other moderator. And, that way you each have somebody moderating who can address some of the claims of the other candidate, and that might be a fair system. We've kind of proposed that stuff previously. I've seen that a couple of times in local debates, and it can work as long as the moderators don't fight with one another. I don't think it's a bad idea for at least one debate to give it a try. But I also, the more that I do this and the more that we advance in years and as the elections of our country continue to change, the more I'm just in the camp of, we probably should get rid of the debates altogether and just have a long-form interview that is live with the candidates. And they can sit down with somebody. And I don't think it should be anybody with a cable news network. I don't think it should be anybody with a network news agency. I think that it needs to be like a normal human being. I'm only throwing this out there as a possibility just because of the size of the platform. Not that I necessarily agree with it, but somebody like a Joe Rogan or something like that. Joe Rogan, I don't think is the right guy for it. He's happy to do it. I just don't think that Joe Rogan knows the issues enough to be able to do that. But there are creators on the left and the right who do this professionally and have the ability to actually carry that conversation and intelligently talk about policy without, getting into a huge debate or anything like that. The whole point of doing the debates is for the moderators to stay out of it. The moderators are just there to make sure that the candidates don't fight each other and that they obey the rules. The moderators are not supposed to be fact-checking anybody, even if a candidate is lying. That's not what the moderator is there to do. So the moment you have a moderator do that, they've kind of stepped out of the role of moderator and they're now actively a participant. Even if the moderator disagrees, I've moderated many debates. My job is to stay out of it. The whole point is for you to hear the candidate, and the fact checks come afterwards. When I interview in the primaries, right? And if this year I interviewed more people in the primary than I usually do, I got away from interviewing in the primary because inevitably there's a bunch of people who lie about you because they lose their elections and they start spreading rumors. So it's, and I made a mistake of interviewing people because it was a transition with the show and there's a lot of stuff that was at stake. And of course, the same thing happened. I get lied about. It's a whole thing. But generally speaking, when I interview in a primary season, it's non-combative. I don't really interrupt. I let them say their piece. If what they say is not true, it's up for you to figure that out. I can address that maybe at a later date. The whole point is for the candidate to introduce themselves to you in a primary. And so if you're a Republican, you can listen to that candidate, their opponent, if their opponent is willing to come on and make a decision. If you're a Democrat, it's the same thing. I've done a lot of Democrat interviews in primaries over the years. I have had a unique problem in Indiana that Democrats have not wanted to come on this show. That is a unique thing in my career, particularly in Elkhart and South Bend. Mishawaka has been willing to come on. I'm new in Allen County, so I'm not sure about the Allen County Democratic Party yet or the surrounding areas. We'll see ultimately how they feel. But the whole goal is to not be combative so that you, the voter, get to learn who they are. Now, when you get into the general election, you by necessity are more combative because you have generally two, sometimes three or four, very conflicting viewpoints. And if you have one party on and they say one thing, and you have another party on and they say the opposite, your job in that interview is to get them to explain why they are saying what they're saying so that you, the voter, can understand what's going on. You can at least understand their viewpoint of it. And what happened on ABC was just, there's no sugarcoating it. It was wrong. It was absolutely wrong. And that's why you saw everybody who on a big stage has moderated a debate eviscerate those two people with ABC. Because what they did was either the worst or the second worst job of moderating that I think that I have ever seen. Maybe the third if I stretch a little bit. But I mean, there's been some that I think were probably worse than that. But that was really, really bad. We got more coming up. You're tuned in to The Burning Truth.
The Burning Truth with Casey Hendrickson.
All right. I want to thank you for tuning in. Casey Hendrickson here. You're listening to The Burning Truth. I want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend, Warsaw, and Fort Wayne. Go to rbcarcompany.com. So the latest thing that has kind of taken over the news media, this is the easy button, if you will, of journalism, is to just write entire articles about what somebody on TikTok has done or allegedly has done. So People Magazine has decided to go ahead and do this as well. Now, sometimes this is, pretty relevant. I actually think this one's pretty relevant, but a lot of times you just end up getting nonsense and it's easy button, lazy stuff. But I did think that this one was pretty interesting. On TikTok, one mom describes how her son received a 15 to 20 page double-sided August homework packet on the first day of school. Now, I know some of you are going to be like, oh, boo-hoo, homework, everything else, but just hang in there for a minute, okay? For one mom, kindergarten homework was just not working. In a now viral TikTok, Arizona-based mom of three, Kaylee, explains why she emailed her son's kindergarten teacher. Now, keep in mind, this is kindergarten, at his charter school to opt out of homework assignments. In the video, she describes how her son received a 15 to 20 page double-sided August homework packet on the first day of school, which stressed him out. Okay, 15 to 20 pages double-sided is a wide margin there. I mean, if you're going to do the TikTok video, at least have the number of pages correctly so we know. If she's saying 15 to 20, is it 15 to 20 or does it feel like 15 to 20 pages? And is it really 10? It's a dramatic difference. I sent my son's kindergarten teacher a cutesy little email saying, I'm sorry, based on the stress, mental, physical anxiety it's causing my kid. We are done, the mom says on TikTok. Oh. Are you? She adds that the email came after she and her son tried to work on the homework packet together. Kindergarten, Morgan. Kindergarten. On August 26, she had him sit down quietly during breakfast and work on finishing at least 1 or 2 pages of the packet because he was behind. Okay, do you remember 15 to 20 pages? This is a packet of homework for the month of August. How many days are in the month of August? How many days are in the month of August? Okay. So on August 26th, she had him sit down to start doing stuff during breakfast? Really? You waited 26 days to have him do one thing? During that moment, Kaylee says they both started crying. It was an emotional mess. I felt so guilty dropping him off at school. He didn't want to be there. For the last 2 weeks, he told me he doesn't even like school and doesn't want to be there anymore, which hurts my mama heart because you're 5. The only thing that you should be worrying about is learning and what time snack is. How can he learn if you're not having him do the work? So if you have a packet of 15 to 20 things to do in kindergarten, for those of you who have kindergartens, you already know what I'm talking about. For those of you who've never had kids in kindergarten, the work is largely not even graded. It's to get them into the routine of actually doing work and doing assignments and things like that. And oftentimes there isn't even any homework for kindergarten. But this teacher has like, hey, for the entire month, here's some stuff that you need to do. Turn it in at the end of the month, okay? But pretty low stress, like a page a day, and the kid should be fine, which would probably take him, 10 minutes maybe? Work to live, we don't live to work, she adds, explaining how she wants her kids to love school. Great. It's been a while since I've said it. I feel like I need to say it again. Morgan, can I say it? Can I say it, please? Morgan says yes, I can say it. School sucks, okay? School is awful. The people who like school are weirdos, generally, all right? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a good thing that you like school. I'm just saying you're an anomaly. School is generally god-awful. It is one of the worst things you will do on a daily basis your entire life. However, if you don't do good at it, you will then go to work every single day doing something that's even worse. So really the choice is yours. You take 10 or 15 minutes a day and you do 1 page because that's what this teacher requires at a charter school. And I'm assuming that this charter school probably outperforms the public schools in the area. I don't know, but I'm assuming. And you get the work done. And then you teach your kid not to get stressed by cramming at the last minute. And hopefully you build good habits. So what we have is a mom named Kaylee who probably sucked as a student and is not disciplined and is not teaching her kid how to be disciplined. And because she gets stressed, the kid gets stressed. And as a result, the kid, now what, gets to opt out of homework? That ain't going to work. How's that going to work? How is that going to work? Now, listen, here's the thing. There's a couple of things, all right, that I also need to address here. This mom is not doing her job. This mom is being a bad mom. Doesn't mean she doesn't love her kid. Doesn't mean she doesn't want what's best for her kid. She's just unwilling to be uncomfortable enough to have her kid succeed. This is kindergarten. How is this kid's school life going to be in 3rd or 4th or 5th grade? Do you think Kaylee is going to keep their kid on track? Or is this a kid who's going to discover porn early, maybe join a gang, get in trouble, drop out of school, what have you. Or hopefully along the way, he discovers that he's got to do it on his own because mom ain't going to be an asset to him. Kaylee sucks as a mother with this regard, okay? Now, beyond that, I don't think a packet of 15 to 20 pages is necessarily too much per se. I don't have the assignments, but generally kindergarten assignments are not, again, graded. It's just, did you make an effort? Did you do something? Did you try to turn it in or what have you? And I'm sure that the teacher will probably have a nice little response to her dumb little email about all of that. Like, hey, you can't just opt your kid out of homework, lady. That's not how it works. But beyond that, I really do think that they give too much homework. I know I've said this for a number of years, and as I've become a parent, and I've watched my kids go through normal average public school, elite public school, and then elite private school, I have seen the same problems over and over. And particularly if you have a kid who is in extracurricular activities, you know, you come home at 3:30, 4 o'clock, right? God forbid you have to run to the grocery store on the way home from school. So it's like right around dinner time by the time you get home sometimes. If you have a practice or a game, you're hosed because you don't have a chance to do your homework. Like, it can get very difficult sometimes for some schedules, not everybody. But when you have students who do extracurriculars in particular, like it gets hairy sometimes, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. It gets hairy and stressful. And weekends get sucked up doing homework and things of that nature. Most good teachers are pretty decent about adjusting those sorts of things. There has to be a balance. And I do think that oftentimes the stuff that should be done in the classroom is pushed off to home. So that way, you know, the teacher doesn't necessarily have to deal with it, or the workload or requirements of whatever the states are requiring ends up being met, even though it's probably not worthwhile. So, yeah, I do agree that homework is overassigned. However, we have to, folks, we can't allow People Magazine to write an entire article here about boo-hoo Kaylee the mom, who waited 26 days to have her kindergartner do one assignment in a month-long packet that they got on the first day of school, and then say it was too stressful. What adult cries because the kindergarten homework is too difficult and stressful? This kid's in trouble. This kid's in big trouble because mom sucks. And there's really no other way to say it. Casey, you're being mean. Tell me I'm wrong. No, she just loves her kid. No, she doesn't. If she loved her kid, she would have had her kid doing 1 page a day, maybe 2 on a good day, and the kid would get ahead and learn good habits. And mom wouldn't be crying at the breakfast table over kindergarten homework. She's failing her kid, and she's blaming the teacher. And she's blaming the school, and she's running to TikTok to tell everybody about her little feelings getting hurt and how it's traumatizing her child. What did she use? Mental and physical. What was the, I want to get the terminology right. What was it? Mental and physical anxiety. Really? Your kid's got anxiety, huh? Over kindergarten homework. Or does your kid have anxiety because you didn't do your job as a mom? The kid's in trouble. Major issue here. And I'm just going to go out on a limb. You'll have to forgive me, feminists. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'll bet there's no dad. Got more coming up. You're tuned into The Burning Truth. Feminists, direct your hate mail to jzimney@federatedmedia.com. I don't want to hear it. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby trashed a group of veterans in an email that was sent in error to Fox News on the anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks, which happened in 2001, Karine Jean-Pierre, not 2021, you idiot. As Fox News reported on Wednesday, Kirby responded to an email query from Fox about criticisms by a veterans group about the Biden administration's disastrous 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan by accidentally hitting reply all before disparaging the veterans. Obviously, no use in responding. A handful of vets, indeed, and all of one stripe, Kirby said, in a reply all email chain Wednesday afternoon that appeared to be intended for White House staffers, but which also included Fox News Digital. Yeah. All right, veterans. Was it just a handful of veterans who were ticked off about what happened with the withdrawal of Afghanistan? Why isn't Kirby mad about 13 Americans losing their life there, huh? Why isn't he upset? He's never expressed any remorse or anything about any of that. Just remember that. That's who they are. It's a sad group of people. And they run around and they accuse Donald Trump of being a guy who doesn't like veterans without any evidence at all. It's just shameful stuff. It really is. You got the widow of a 9/11 hero has ripped Joe Biden for something that he said at the 9/11 ceremony. A widow of a firefighter who died inside the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001, blasted Biden during Wednesday's ceremony in New York to commemorate the terror attacks. During the annual memorial service at Ground Zero, family members and loved ones of 9/11 victims read aloud the names of those killed. Joanne Barbara, widow of Gerard Barbara, an assistant chief of the New York Fire Department, went off script to criticize Mr. Biden for an insensitive remark that he made the day earlier. Quote, "The elected officials here today show their respect and reverence to the families on September 11th, or in our president's words, do 9/11. Quite a flippant remark, she said. But please remember the September 11th families live it every day, not just on the anniversary." Biden used the phrase at the White House on Tuesday while detailing his plans to reporters. "I'm going up to my granddaughter's birthday in New York," he said, at the White House lawn. "Then we're going to watch the debate tomorrow. I'm doing 9/11. So she didn't really like it very much. Yeah, it's just it's just disrespect, folks. I want to take some time, if you'll allow me. I have some sad news to report. And I wanted to just take a moment. Those of you who have listened to the show for any length of time know that the Prime Table restaurant in Niles, Michigan has been a part of this program for a long time. What you may not know is the owners have become very good friends of my family. And for a lot of us here at Federated Media, we have grown to know them for years, and I personally love and adore that family. We got the news today that Mr. Nick passed away. And, our hearts go out to his wife and his children and his grandchildren and all of his loved ones. Nick Giannakakis passed away in his sleep, and it was peaceful, and probably couldn't ask for a more peaceful way to go than he went. Nonetheless, it is extremely sad, and we are heartbroken over this. So please keep everybody in the Prime Table family in your thoughts and prayers. To the Giannakakis family, we love you so much. There will be a viewing at St. Andrew's Greek Orthodox Church tomorrow in South Bend. The viewing starts at 4 and will go to 7 p.m. And again, just if you go to the Prime Table, please show them some love. We'll see you tomorrow.
Podcasts by Federated Media.